Hello and welcome to another Digitakt tutorial with me, Bo. So in today's tutorial we are going to look at how to make a drum groove just using one channel on the Digitakt. So there's 8 audio channels, but with some nifty parameter locking, you can make a whole drum groove just using one track. And in today's video, I'm actually using sample packs provided by Beat People. So I'll leave the links down in the description. So I got 2 kits here, Analog Boom Bap Volume 1 and the Chicken Kit. And I've talked about the Chicken Kit before. It's a fun kit. It's got a lot of different strange type sounds, very experimental. I think Corey, the guy behind Beat People, I think he has used his modular rig a lot when he made them. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like that. So we got some cool samples from the Analog Boom Bap. I'm just going to load a bunch of samples. So I picked a tempo, 105 BPM, and now I want to go to the scales page here and set it up. So I will be doing the 64 steps. I will be working out of 64 steps, but I will also use the scales mode here in order to increase the resolution of what's playing. Basically, it doubles the BPM. Oh, and of course, we need a little sip of the coffee. So let's go into step sequencing mode here. And let's place a first trig, and I think I want a kick drum here. So let me just scroll down here and get a kick drum. So I've parameter locked a kick and 2 snares onto channel number 1. Let's add more stuff. So while I'm adding the hi-hat sound, I'm also doing some parameter locking on the hi-hat sound with the filter to create, just a different vibe or different variation to the sound. So let's add some more hi-hats. I'm also playing around with the panning of the hi-hat sounds. So some of them are slightly panned in order to create a broader feel. Because if I use the LFO, for example, for panning, it will impact the whole drum track, and I don't want that at the moment. So I think we need more kick drums. So let's see if we can find a kick drum that suits. In order to create some more variation here, I've added a retrig value to this kick drum here. But we'll also add a condition, so it only triggers a certain percentage of the time, say 67%. And we can tweak it a bit, changing the filter. Let's throw in some shakers in the mix. And of course we can add different effects to some of the different sounds. For example, some of the snares might need some reverb. can of course add a little bit of delay to some of the sounds as well. And I think I'll go for a little shorter delay and ping pong it and cut some bass from it and just add it to some. I'll just add it to some random notes. I think that's kind of part of the fun of this. And I think I want to try here on the third part here. I want to try using the tuning a little bit. So I'll just go in and I'll use the parameter locking here to tune down stuff in a sort of downward spiral and see what I can do. So if we start with the end here, like -20, let's say here second -18. So just try to. I want to make like a pitched spiral, a downward spiral of pitch. So let's see here, something like this. And let's try and reverse some samples. I'm just doing this, I'm just doing it very randomly just to see what happens. And now of course we can start messing about with the LFO section if we want to, and the amp section for the entire track here. It's a lot of fun. And the fun thing is, of course, you can parameter lock the LFO not only to the entire beat here, but to just individual parts. So let's do some pitch parameter locking of this LFO. So I'm just going to turn it down here to 0. And let's see if we can do some fun parameter locking of the LFO here. I'm just going to do it a little bit at random, just to see what happens. So remember, this is more to show you the kind of creative possibilities that you have doing this. This isn't really the perfect beat or anything. It's just a lot of fun. We can of course play with it live if we want to. And now with the LFO parameter lock to certain steps, we can of course change sample tuning to something else. For example, if we use the filter here to create something, somewhat of a variation here with the filter, giving it a bit of an attack, turning down the filter for the entire track, and we can just set the LFO to frequency instead. And we can of course play with the amp on the entire track as well. So in recap, we have 64 steps playing at 105 BPM, but at twice the speed. So basically you have to draw it out over more steps, but you get a high resolution and you can use more parameter locking different samples to each step in order to create something, really strange, crazy, whatever you want to do. And of course you can do more standard as well, but I wanted to show you that there's a lot of creative possibility here with just one track, a lot of samples. Oh, and in the Beat People kit there's a ton of different cool samples, so you should definitely go and check them out. Let me just show a couple of them. So this was a bow beats tutorial here on the Digitakt, and we created a kind of complex drum groove just using one track, not in a specific genre, kind of experimental, but it goes to show that you can do some pretty cool things with the Digitakt in just one track. And I also think it's a very good exercise to limit yourself to one track and see what kind of grooves you can come up with. So if you like this video, leave a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you want to support me further, you can head over to patreon.com/bowbeats. Oh, and as a last little treat, I'll just play the drum groove and go to town and just mash it up.